Listen, I think at the end of the day, racism is wrong on both ends. I feel that there are better ways to handle things, and not everything has to lead to violence, right? Someone that, like I said, I trained jujitsu for a long time, and one of the ways we were taught was how to deal with situations without having to hurt somebody. So, with that being said, we do. None of us in this panel condone violence, just as much as none of us on this panel condone racism. Liz, I understand exactly what you were saying. I get your point. And I understand that you are not supporting racism. So we're going to make that very clear to the chat. The only thing that I will say that it is wrong to sit there and talk to children. There are better ways to say things to children, especially if it's not your own. Maybe even addressing the parents. That could do a whole deal. But it is sad. Someone did lose their life. A child did lose his life over the Carmelo Anthony case. We will figure out what is going on within that. But at the end of the day, let's not take away from the victim that did end up no longer being able to also say his point as well, because he is not here to give us insight on what he experienced, right? There's always two sides to every coin. So just as much as Carmelo might have something to say and have his story, there's still another story that gentleman might not have been able to say because he's no longer here. So we do show support and sympathy for the family that lost their child.
Yeah, again, just to set
the
the
difference
record clear
between
too.
Carmelo's supporters and us.
There's not a difference. It's the same. It's the same people, in my opinion. Now, again, just to make this clear for the record, in neither cases I'm picking sides. I'm simply calling it out as it is. Both sides are wrong in what it is that they're doing and what it is that they're supporting. It goes against the very morals that a lot of these people stand for, but they're only doing it because they're being on code. And this is something that we're being told to do on the internet, much rather than paying attention and actually looking at the morality of what it is that we're doing. So all it is that I'm saying, in my opinion, that woman is wrong for what it is that she said to that young boy, and she deserves whatever it is that comes to her. And at the same time, as me once being a 17, 18-year-old young man, I believe I believe that what it is that young man did was wrong in escalating that situation to the point of where someone lost their life. So it's I can poke somebody, or I can throw these hands, and I can either lose this battle or I can win it. So what you choose and what it is that you decide to go with at that point, what life has taught us is that the decisions that you make, you have to reap what you sow. So whatever comes with that, you have to make your bed and you have to lay in that motherfucker. So for both sides, you have to lay your bed. You have to lay in the bed that you made. And again, in both sides, both people have the ability to go through the due process of what it is that we are under in this constitution, to either say this person is right or this person is wrong. And that's all that I'm saying. And I'll land now.
And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, like, once you realize at the end of the day, this isn't a race war. Like, it's a war between good and evil. Even thinking back to like slavery. Slavery didn't start based on, oh, we don't like these people, we don't want them here. Slavery started based on labor, money. They wanted people to work and not to do it for money. They wanted people to work for free.
And
So
it's cheaper to take people from a different country that don't know any better and make them
exactly.
think that they're going to be going to the promised land, but reality, they're going to be enslaved for as many times as they want.
Exactly.
100%.
Like, it had nothing to do with race. I feel like before that time, like, and that's the thing, there were black people here. That's what people are failing to realize. There were black people already here. They
Yeah.
had their own land, they had crops, they had
A,
farms,
a,
like they
a
had their
whole
own
heap of
stuff.
them.
But once that law was passed, all of that went down the drain because certain people wanted more money, wanted more power. It had nothing to do with race. So I think
I'm
once a lot of people take that idea out of it and they realize, like, hey, we're all people at the end of the day, like, we'll be fine. And again, I think nowadays, like, a lot of people have a fetish with racism on our end and on their end. Once we just stop putting race and stuff and just realizing, hey, you did this to me and I didn't like that. That's when we'll be able to move on.
But it also starts with us too. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I've been through way more racial circumstances than I would like, than anyone would like. I mean, I was at a bar and I was waiting on my lift, and I literally got called all sorts of racial slurs just from someone being drunk, just from me sitting around waiting for my lift, right? Being bullied as a kid, experiencing that. So it's just like, it's a little bit more sensitive to me when I hear these things, because I experienced firsthand what it was like being a kid and getting told these things from an older generation than myself. So I didn't like that. So when I see someone doing it, I'm going to check it. And I think we all should. But at the same time, we have to also remember that it starts with us. If we want to make a change, we got to start by making that change. We got to start by doing things a little bit different. We can't be fit in these stereotypes that people keep putting us in. We can't. Otherwise, we're just going to keep giving them a reason to keep looking at us the same fucking way every freaking time. At what point are we going to make that shift?
All right, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be quiet, Callie. I agree with what you're saying. I remember I had ordered an Uber, and as soon as I came outside, it was an older white man. As soon as that nigga seen me, he pulled the hell off. Right?
Yeah.
But like, at the same time, I could go to a gas station in a community that I'm from that look just like me, and niggas will be in there, man, fuck you looking at. Whoa. I would experience the same exact feeling from somebody that looks just like me. So I think the point that I'm trying to make in that is that there's people on both sides that are just not simply good people. There's just simply evil people out there that's looking to prey on someone, that's looking to judge someone just off of their appearance. And that can be a person that looks just like you or a person that looks nothing like you.
You just empathize with the ones that don't look like us.
I don't give a fuck about that. What I care about, and the only thing that we should care about is the fact that this is a thing. That's the problem. That this is a thing.
It is.
So that's my whole point.
Yeah, I know. I'm not doubting you.
If I can't go to a gas station, black women, these black women that's on the panel, I'm pretty sure that there are gas stations that you avoid. Probably not Dad. You from the west side. You used to it. You probably get off from.
But my cousin be telling me don't stop there. She be like, keep going.
Right, but you get off of it. You're comfortable with it. But there are some black women that are not comfortable with that, and they won't go to a gas station in a community to where it's, I don't feel comfortable walking in here because of the niggas that's posted up in front of it. Exactly. It's no difference from us going to a sundown town, as they say. So it's the same exact type of people with the same exact mentality that are in both of these communities. So I think that that's the bigger problem, much rather than us looking at what racism is. A wise man once said that, how do we get rid of racism? You stop talking about it. And I truly believe that. So until we get to that point, we're going to continue to have these situations as to where we have these very situations where people are clearly picking sides solely off of staying on code. And I'll land now.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm just gonna say, if it was a white boy in the same position, I would say give him his. I wouldn't say that it was racially motivated. I wouldn't say that. I would say let's look at the facts. Let's go to the law. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm giving this. I think this. I'm giving this black boy this opportunity, or I'm supporting him, or not calling him guilty because of he's black. No, if it was a white boy in the same situation, I would do the same thing, and I would say the same thing.
But that's the thing. I feel like media turned it into something different. Because
Mhm.
like we had a similar situation in Philly not too long ago, but I feel like in their town, maybe like it was just like, oh, like he unalived him. But as soon as it got brought to the internet, that's when people were like, you know what? When this happened to little black kids, y'all don't do nothing. Like, you know, and I think like a lot of people were mad at the treatment and everything that happened because of that. On both sides, because like if you think about it, like they put up a GoFundMe page to get him out. People sent like over thousands of dollars. I think last time I checked, it was up to 175,000. Oh, it's higher. Okay, it was higher than that. So people were taking that and like saying like, why are you getting this criminal out? Things like that. And then something similar happened with like a white boy, and people did the same thing on his side. So I think people just need to like, we're gonna support our people regardless.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, I think the media and people in general just need to stop making it about race. Like it had nothing to do with race. Like last time I checked, they said it was over a chair or something like that, a seat or something. So why are we saying this is racially motivated? It doesn't make sense. Like I doubt
And
he walked
that's
in there and it's just like I'm gonna kill this little white boy. Like I don't think
yeah.
that's what happened.
And that's
It's,
exactly why I said it's too different, because we have racism blatantly shown in our face, and then the other one we're still finding out what the whole
exactly,
root cause of the situation is. The reason why we think it's the same is because someone decided to throw racism and make it about that,
exactly,
but that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that that might not even be. That's
right.
probably not even. That's probably way more further from the truth than what we're seeing in our face
Yep,
today. The difference between someone coming up to you and telling you I'm a racist before, besides someone just assessing the situation and making assumptions. So like I said, at the end of the day, we all have things we need to work on as a community and as a whole. Listen, yeah, we may not have chose to be in America, but we're here. And to the other cultures and things like that, you guys are here too. So let's find a way
mm-hmm.
to coexist. Let's find a way to be good neighbors, and let's find a way to, you ain't gotta like me all the time, but you're damn sure gonna respect me, and I'm gonna make sure I reciprocate that. And that's all that matters, because that is what's gonna get us from going here to actually going elevating, because that's what our ancestors wanted for us. That's why Martin Luther King marched. That's why we had Malcolm X. They wanted us to commingle with everybody, not to continue to be segregated and keep repeating
Exactly,
the same things over and over. My bestest friend in the whole wide world is white. She's had my back way more than anybody. So I will never talk down on any other culture, because my best is I'm the godmom of her daughter. Her daughter is white. And I'm her godmother. So I cannot sit up here and trash talk white people when
exactly,
I'm a godmother of a white child. I will never do that. I love that baby to death as if she was my own. So, like I said, we just need to learn how to commingle. We need to we're not always going to get it right, but majority of us need to start thinking a little bit more logically and less emotionally, because I think it's when we get
exactly.
into our emotions and our feelings about certain situations that we start to really wrongfully assess situations, and we're not thinking, we're just kind of just doing off
Right.
of what our past was, or our ancestors past. We're not there anymore. We have a shot now, let's take it, utilize it.
Exactly. And like we have to realize it is us sometimes too. Like for example, the whole George Floyd situation. People can scream up and down all day, all day. That was racially motivated. But they had a past. A lot of people don't recognize that. They both worked together at a club years prior. They both knew exactly who each other were. So we don't know what really happened. Like maybe they had an altercation back then and he just wanted to get his get back. Like you never know. We got to stop screaming like, "Oh, this is racist. They did
Mm-hmm.
this because of X, Y, and Z." If
Mm-hmm.
that person didn't come out of their mouth and say that, then we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
No.